Warning! Lots of blood and talking about death and stuff. You have been warned.
Hello there, the name's Josh, and at the time of recording this, Five Nights at Freddy's 6th-year anniversary just passed. With 10 games out and more on the way, 9 books out and more on the way, and 1 movie and still in the works, original creator Scott Cawthon has a lot of clout in the indie dev community for the empire he's built. But as fun as the gameplay of his games are, and as questionable the fandom can be, that's not what keeps people attached to the series. It's the deep and convoluted lore that's packed into every detail of these games. With the newest and what looks like the biggest installment in the franchise, Security Breach, on the horizon, I thought it would be fun to do a sort of recap of everything in the series for people who are jumping back into the series and don't know what the heck any of these words mean, or for fans who need a refresher. I'll be going through the games in order of when they came out, like 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, and sort of retelling what was given to us there, just to keep my thoughts straight instead of trying to paint a big, messy timeline, because a lot of those have been made and it's not pretty. Just a few notes to put out there before we jump in. This is horror fantasy mixed with sci-fi horror, all sorts of weird stuff, deals with black magic and frankly outlandish ideas of how advanced robots could be in the 80s and 90s, so don't try and ground it in the rules of our reality, because they're different worlds. Also, not everything in here is going to make perfect sense. There are still pieces of the puzzle that the community haven't found or are trying to figure out. And because of that, not everything in this video is going to be 100% factual due to how vague the storytelling can be. I'll be using common sense and inferring a lot in this video, but Scott could come out and release a book telling us that phone guy was actually the mysterious Mrs. Afton the whole time, and I really wouldn't question it. With that in mind, the accuracy stuff, not the phone guy thing, let's get started with the game that started all this off, Five Nights at Freddy's 1.
Arr, I came for ye booty. That be treasure, you know.
There's not much lore in this game due to it being the first in the series before Scott had even realized he wanted to tell a story. What we do get from here is that it takes place in 1993 and we're some dude who took the night shift at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, some Chuck E. Cheese equivalent that uses 10-foot tall animatronics to entertain and hide the bodies of the cute little children. Yeah, back in the early 80s, 5 children went missing when a man in a mascot suit lured them into a backstage room and presumably killed them. He was arrested, but later freed for lack of evidence since they couldn't find those pesky bodies. This is known within the community as the Missing Children Incident. Fazbear Entertainment doesn't have much in the way of safety, but they have some damn good lawyers. A while after that incident, the animatronics start to emit foul odors and liquids like blood and mucus would ooze from their eyes and mouths. The place gets closed down due to health code violations, but this restaurant is back up and running 10 years later, and the animatronics are out for your blood. It's safe to assume that the children were stuffed inside the animatronics, and their spirits haunt them to this day. Along with the core 4 animatronics of Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie the Bunny, Chica the Chicken, and Foxy the Pirate take your best guess what animal he is, there's also the mysterious character of Golden Freddy. He can randomly appear in your office without warning and crash your game. Also, there was this thing the tutorial character Phone Guy mentioned about the bite of 87, where somebody lost their frontal lobe to an animatronic attack, but that doesn't really have much plot relevance to the overarching story at all, so... On to FNaF 2! Five Nights at Freddy's 2 brings a lot more to the table, not only in the main game, but also in these Atari-style 8-bit minigames there's a chance to find when you die. But before we dive into that, let's get to the basic plot. It's 1987, and you're working the night shift in the newly rebranded Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The company's trying to dissociate from the missing children incident that we touched on last game, and to help with that, these brand new toy animatronics are all teched up with a facial scanner that's connected to a criminal database to look out for predators and stop the incident from happening again. The facial recognition is kinda glitchy, so they're after you right now. Along with them, there are the old decommissioned animatronics from the first game. They were dismantled after the missing children's incident in the 80s. You get to hear about some new lore about the history of Freddy Fazbear from hearing about how it was originally FREDBEAR'S family diner, after rebranding due to a big accident that we'll cover when we get to FNaF 4. If you manage to survive all 5 nights and the additional bonus 6th night, you'll get a newspaper clipping stating that after 1 week of being open, the pizzeria is closing and the toy animatronics are being discontinued and scrapped due to possible malfunctions. They'll be going back to using the old animatronics in a smaller location, which leads directly into FNaF 1. The problem that caused this recall of the robots was almost certainly the infamous bite of 87. Now, about those 8-bit minigames I mentioned. They each have you take control of a different animatronic and perform a simple task. Give cake to kids, perform for kids, give gifts to kids, etc. But all these games take a turn for the worse very quickly. In the minigame where you play as Freddy and give out cake to happy customers, you see one child outside the restaurant, alone and crying. A purple car rolls up behind the child and out steps a purple man. We didn't know this at the time, but his name is William Afton. He kills the child outside the pizzeria and leaves the now gray, tear-stained corpse outside. He drives away and the minigame ends with a jump scare from this game's newest character, the puppet. This minigame illustrates the origin of the puppet and how this child is the murderer's first victim. Next minigame. You're Foxy the Pirate. He runs down to see the children, who cheer upon his arrival and throw confetti. He repeats the action, the same thing happens, but the third time, the purple man returns. He stands in the corner smiling happily. When Foxy goes to see the children, they're all dead. Instead of confetti, you're greeted with another jump scare. Next minigame. You are the puppet, and you're in a room with 4 dead kids. Your first objective is to give gifts. It's the puppet's job to keep the kids happy, and presents make kids happy. So that makes sense. When that doesn't work, your new objective is to give life. So you, as the puppet, hide the bodies away into the suits, giving them life. The game ends with a jump scare from Golden Freddy, but right before the jump scare appears, there is one frame that holds the secret 5th child, Golden Freddy's soul. This minigame details how the souls of the children from the missing children incident became trapped inside the robots to begin with. Next minigame. You are the old withered Freddy in the FNaF 2 location. You can choose to follow the puppet or to explore. If you follow the puppet, it'll lead you to the prize corner room and the minigame will end. If you explore on your own, you'll find normal pizzeria things like tables, other animatronics, and child corpses. If you try to interact with the dead kids, the minigame will end. No matter what path you take, there's always a rare chance that Afton will appear in one of the rooms and rush at you. If he touches you, the minigame will end. This is most likely telling us how, on one of the 7 days that the place has been open, William took 5 more victims and got the toy animatronics haunted, which may in turn have caused the bite of 87. You know, the toy animatronics lashing out at an adult who wore the day shift uniform. The same uniform worn by the man who took their lives. That's pretty much everything noteworthy FNaF 2 has to offer, so on to FNaF 3.
I always come back.
No one really knows when FNaF 3 takes place. Some say 2017, some say 2033, but most people say 2023, so let's stick with that. It's far into the future from anything else we've seen in the series so far. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is long gone, and someone's decided to make a horror attraction based on the old rumors around the locations. On their second day of getting ready to open, they find an old, broken-down animatronic springlock suit. Within that withered, rotting suit resides the undead corpse of William Afton, the Purple Man, the murderer. This entity is known as Springtrap. I'll explain all that in a second, but they add it into the attraction and you have to be the one to deal with it coming to kill you. Through listening to old abandoned training tapes, you learn about springlock suits. They're costumes that can double as both animatronic and suit. It's normally a regular animatronic, but you can use a crank to fold back and hide away the robotic endoskeleton parts using little springlocks. Once they're securely held back, a performer can climb inside and use it as a mascot costume. These were used back in the old FREDBEAR'S family diner days. But there was a drawback. The tiniest things like moisture and sudden rigid movement could trigger the springlocks, especially in older suits. As William himself puts it in one of the many FNaF books,
"First, the locks themselves will snap into you, making deep cuts all over your body. And a split second later, all the animatronic parts, all that sharp steel and hard plastic, will be instantly driven into your body. You'll die, but it will be slow. You'll feel your organs puncture. The suit will grow wet with your blood. And you know you're dying for a long, long time. You'll try to scream, but you'll be unable to. Your vocal cords will be severed, and your lungs will fill with your own blood until you drown in it.
Needless to say, a very brutal way to go. If you manage to survive all 5 nights, you get a newspaper clipping reporting on how FREDBEAR'S fright has burned to the ground before it could even open, presumably Springtrap with it. But surprise, he survived the fire because of course he did. There are even more minigames in here, but most of them are convoluted fever dreams that don't really tell us anything about anything. But the ones in between the nights are the ones that you want to pay attention to. They show the story of the Purple Man returning to the FNaF 1 location to dismantle the animatronics. Once they've all been destroyed, you take control of a child spirit. You and the other souls confront the Purple Man. He tries to hide inside a Springlock suit, but the Springlocks fail, putting all Will through a long and torturous death. The souls fade away, their goal complete. Or so they thought. He never actually died, and was forced to wait it out for years and years alone in a dark room until he was found by the people who put him in FREDBEAR'S fright. But back on topic of those fever dreamish minigames, if you manage to find all of them, then find a weird specific glitch in all of them, you'd then be treated to a minigame showing the spirits of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, the puppet, and Golden Freddy being put to rest, letting them move on. This gives you the good ending. However, the puppet spirit stays around to continue undoing all of the sins that William Afton has done.
He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Who you gonna call? Psychic friend Fredbear.
Five Nights at Freddy's 4 came at a time when everyone thought the series had come to a good bookend close, but when it came out, it changed the game in a major way. To this day, it's still one of the most confusing and theory-destroying parts of the entire franchise, so I have to tread very lightly with what I say and try not to say much for fear of being very, very wrong. Like, are the gameplay segments real? Are they just a coma dream? Who's experiencing them? Who is the person who is saying the famous "I will put you back together" line? The year is 1983. Meet the Aftons, a family with a dad, a big brother, a little brother, and a little sister. The little sister isn't important right now, but she will become very important next game, so that's when we'll talk about her. William Afton, the father, was the co-creator of FREDBEAR'S Family Diner, along with his close friend Henry Emily. Remember him? He will be very important later on. Henry primarily built and worked with the animatronics, while William tended to handle more of the business side of things. The Aftons lived right next to a FREDBEAR'S Family Diner, and would be there often, as William would often be working and couldn't leave his kids at home alone. This is Michael Afton. He's the oldest child and bears a striking resemblance to his dad. People used to think this was Michael until very recently. This is Crying Child. He has no canon name yet. No, it is not Chris. The fandom made that name up because Chris is the closest thing they could think of to cry. So, Crying Child, that's what he's called. He's constantly tormented by Michael, who uses a Foxy mask to scare him. Crying Child is terrified by the animatronics at FREDBEAR'S. No one really knows why, but when talking with his possessed Fredbear plushie, don't question it, it mentions that he's seen something, and because of that something he's seen, he should stay as far away from the animatronics as possible. It's Crying Child's birthday, and he's stuck at FREDBEAR'S with Michael and his equally bullying friends. As a prank, they decide to pick up Crying Child, carry him over to the Fredbear animatronic, and place him in its mouth. The jaws of the big yellow bear crush the boy's head. This is known in the community as the Bite of 83. He's rushed to a hospital, but it's too late. After being stuck in a coma for who knows how long, probably 5, 6, or 7 nights, the words, "I am still here. I will put you back together," echo in his mind before he fades away, dead.
Exotic butters.
Five Nights at Freddy's sister location came at a time when everyone thought the series had come to a good bookend close, but this gives us a much more straightforward story than any other game, a lot less speculation here. Of course, I say that, then I'm immediately going to jump into the little speculation this game does give. It's an unspecified time in the future, most likely around the time of FNaF 3. In sister location, you play as Michael Afton, sent by William, to find and maybe put to rest, but most likely unleash, the soul of his dead daughter, Michael's little sister, Elizabeth Afton. Backstory time. So, in the early 80s, Circus Baby's Pizza World had just opened and was the new face of animatronic fast food entertainment when Freddy's was starting to hit the decline due to the bite of '83. Circus Baby's Pizza World was also run by William, and the animatronics were also designed by Henry. But the difference with these ones is they were designed specifically to capture and kill kids. Afton had somehow tricked Henry into helping design and create these things, because when Henry had realized what he'd done, he bailed, leaving good old Billy Afton to take the designs and sign them off as official Afton Robotics designs. But the problem was, Elizabeth was enamored by Baby, the title animatronic of Circus Baby's Pizza World. She begged her father to let her go see Baby, not knowing the danger. He, of course, said no, but Elizabeth snuck off to go see her anyway, at a time where there were no witnesses, and putting it lightly, Baby's program does not discriminate. Circus Baby's Pizza World was closed later that very same day due to gas leaks. From then on, they stuck with a rental service where people go to rent out the animatronics for parties and whatnot. So, anyway, since Fazbear Entertainment does not do background checks on any of their employees, Michael gets hired as a technician and goes down into the underground facility. Elizabeth, in Baby's body, sees this as an opportunity. She rallies together all the other possessed animatronics with a plan to gain Michael's trust and use the scooping machine to take out all their endoskeletons, mesh together the best parts, creating a new robot named Ennard, and trick Michael into going into the scooper room where they can shovel out his innards and, as Ennard, go inside his flesh husk and use it to escape the facility. The plan follows through flawlessly, but when they're going about day-to-day human life, the skin suit begins to rot and wither. More and more people notice how Michael looks like he's decaying more and more every day. Eventually, Michael is nothing more than a rotting purple husk, so Ennard has to abandon ship. But through the power of Remnant, the magical force that keeps the kids' souls alive through death, Michael's empty purple meat shell stands up and walks away. He contacts his father, fills him in on everything that just happened, and swears he will find him. Meanwhile, in Ennard, Baby's being kind of a bad leader, trying to take full control over the Ennard body, not realizing that a human body would start to rot after a couple days, and the other animatronics are not having it. They find a way to kick her out of Ennard, and so she goes off and tries to rebuild herself. All of this is setup that leads directly into...
I have candy all day, every day. Candy, candy, candy.
Henry has created one big fake Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria to bring in all the remaining souls still out there. The big four are William, who's in Springtrap, Elizabeth, who's in Baby, Ennard, which is just a bundle of souls, and his daughter, Charlotte, who's in the Puppet. Sure, anywhere where there's kids ripe for the killing, William will be there, and anywhere William goes, his now free loyal daughter will be there. But how did Henry know that his daughter, the Puppet, would arrive? Everyone, say hello to Lure, Encapsulate, Fuse, Transport, and Extract, better known as Lefty. Henry designed this big boy specifically to hunt down, capture, and bring back the Puppet. Now, why would he want all these ticking time bombs to be in one place? Well, there's something I forgot to mention about Remnant, something important. The one way to properly destroy Remnant, and therefore set the souls free, is with fire. His plan is to gather all of these loose ends in one spot and set them ablaze. There are a few minigames in this one. They all have some good old lore. We know this girl is Susie. Her dog dies. Will lures her into the back room by telling her he's alive. Her soul goes into Chica. All this puppet minigame does for us is confirm what we already knew. Henry's daughter Charlotte is the puppet. But this game throws a wrench in everyone's ideas. No one knows what's going on with the orange guy in the purple car who's not allowed at juniors, so I'm just gonna ignore it. Michael was the protagonist again, but this time it was entirely by accident. Henry didn't intend for Michael to take the job, he was just really lucky. Now, if you run a good business, welcome all the Deathbots in with open arms, and survive 5 more nights, you're treated with the most satisfying ending this series has offered and probably will offer. Henry interrupts Baby mid-evil speech and goes on this beautiful monologue where he ties up all the loose ends, then sets them on fire. Elizabeth, William, Charlotte, Michael, and Henry all burned down in the pizzeria. It's just so satisfying to watch him calm the innocent spirits who don't know what's going on as they're burning, putting them at ease, and then turn around and promise that William, his former best friend, is gonna burn in the darkest pit of hell. Oh, speaking of...
My friend, you have met a terrible, terrible demise.
Ultimate Custom Night is the Smash Ultimate of the FNaF series. Everyone is here, but instead of trying to kill each other, they're all trying to kill you. It's a Hall of Fame showing off all your favorite characters and least favorite characters from the series. Do you really think this game that features Japanese Freddy and high schooler Chica is canon? Well, it is. Remember when Henry told William that
the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole, so don't keep the devil waiting, friend.
Well, he wasn't lying. Now that Will's in the afterlife, and so are the countless amount of children he's killed, his eternal punishment is to be killed over and over again by his own creations. Some possessed, some just illusions. But yeah, this whole attack is led by Golden Freddy's spirit, Cassidy. She is pissed and will not let him get away with all his sins. To this day, she still will not let him rest, forever tormenting him in a twisted form of revenge for everything he's done, leaving this franchise with, ironically, a somewhat peaceful ending. Oh, hold on. I appear to be getting a call. Hello?
Hi, is this Josh?
Yes, this is him.
Forgot about the other FNaF games.
Nice one. The story's over. Everyone burns, William gets his comeuppance, and they all live happily ever after. The story's done.
Oh man, it's a VR game. It's gonna have Wanted.
Wait, you're serious?
Yeah man, look it up.
What? Remember everything I've been telling you for the past... How long has it been? Like 22 minutes? Well, what if I told you all of these video games were fictional video games made within the universe of FNaF? What if I told you that in a new campaign to be more relatable with the kids these days and to get any dirt off their back, Fazbear Entertainment discreetly hired an indie game dev to make a bunch of horror games making fun of the previous rumors and maybe real crimes that happened in their restaurants? What if I told you that everything I've been talking about has now been thrown into the air in question of whether it's canon or just a video game? Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted is a VR game developed by Scott Cawthon and Steel Wool Games. Within the FNaF universe, it's developed by unnamed indie dev and Silver Parasol Games. You are a beta tester for this new Freddy Fazbear game. You can find some mysterious cassette tapes. If you play them, you hear the story of another beta tester who had made and hidden these cassette tapes throughout the game as a way to document what's been going on behind the scenes and her experience with this terrifying piece of fursuit. Everyone, say hi to Glitchtrap. Say hi to Glitchtrap. This creepy, ratty rabbit man is some sort of remains of William Afton's brain saved on some vintage Fazbear circuit boards. Or at least it's some malicious virus or code, but let's be honest here, why wouldn't it be Afton? It manifests itself as a big, yellow, glitchy rabbit suit with purple clothes and purple eyes. And as we know,
I always come back.
After all, so why the hell wouldn't it be good old grape-skinned man behind the slaughter, Billy Afton? The way Glitchtrap works is the more cassette tapes you find, the stronger he gets. If you gather enough, he'll be able to swap minds with you and escape into the real world, while you are now trapped in the game in his place. This happened with the previous beta tester who recorded the tapes, and it happens with you too. There's also this other girl, Vanessa, or Ness, or Vanny, who's devoted at least a little bit of her life to Glitchtrap. She makes her own rabbit mask, talks to him, and everything. She'll most likely end up being the villain of the next big mainline game, Security Breach. We haven't seen that much of her, but to be completely honest, she doesn't seem like a real threat. So, I don't really know how she'll match up again. Whoa. Okay, creepy suit and huge knife. Okay, I got it. I'll take it back. I'm sorry.
It's not delivery, it's DiGiorno.
Special Delivery is the game I know the least about, so take everything I say here with a grain of salt. But after about an hour of researching subreddits, wikis, and asking my friends who actually have played the game, I think I have an idea of how it goes. It's a relatively simple mobile game that doesn't seem to have much to give out in the lore department. Just some good fun game mechanics with some good fun event designs that throw new spins on the animatronics we know and love. Like, Bonnie is a chocolate bunny for Easter and he looks so good. But then you notice some emails you're unintentionally getting sent to you from the team behind the game. All sorts of problems are going on. Like how the team are talking about how they found a virus, most likely Glitch Trap, in the code. The code they're referring to is most likely Help Wanted's code due to the fact that Glitch Trap never makes an appearance in Special Delivery. But the emails we really want to focus on here are between Luis and Ness. Luis is the head of IT and notices a few strange internet searches happening on company Wi-Fi from Ness. Luis emails her, letting her know it's very strange to be searching up things like torture, how to induce compliance in humans, literally just the word help, how far a human can be cut in half before losing consciousness, and where to buy lifelike human male rubber masks. Luis also compliments Ness on her new rainbow streaks that have been dyed into her hair. Ooh, design details. Ness is clearly the same girl that's been dedicating her life to Glitch Trap, Vanessa, and she is planning something. Other than that, there's not much lore in this game, just a relatively solid mobile game that I can't get on my phone. The future of FNaF right now is relatively mysterious. Without going into any of the numerous leaks that have come out for Security Breach, all we really know about the soon-to-be-released game is that there's a new sort of mall using a set of new glam rock animatronics, and that Vanny will most likely be the villain. This girl could be the protagonist, but who knows? On ScottsVoices.com page, he's publicly hired a bunch of actors to voice different child characters, so this protect line could mean you're trying to protect these kids from Vanessa and her extremely large knife. But again, no one even knows what the game looks like, what the gameplay is, any of that. Scott has gone on record saying that even through all this pandemic stuff, this game is still scheduled to release before 2021. So we'll see soon enough. The FNaF franchise is a big one, and I'm sure there's a lot of important stuff and unimportant stuff that I missed or skipped over for brevity's sake. If you guys want me to go over all of the minor things I left out in a shorter side video, let me know and tell me what I should go over. This video is a big difference from what I normally do, but it's been pretty fun. If you like or dislike this longer, more talky content, let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed. See all y'all next video.